man, to go in there to look at it and break it apart. Steve, what do you got to add to this weirdo cake we're mixing here?
It's just like you said. Once he got back and he was debriefed, he didn't. He put it all out there.
Yeah,
He told them. He said that he told them about his trip, meeting with the Atlanteans, meeting with the Master. He says that he told the president what the Master said.
Right.
About the use of nuclear atomic weapons. He didn't. He didn't hold back.
No, no, real, right? Yeah.
But of course, now all of a sudden, the U.S. government is in damage control. They tell him he's never to speak of high jump again,
never.
And he never did. Apparently,
he never did.
He never did.
No, this was a good. This was a soldier man. Like this was a military man's military man.
Yeah.
They told him not to speak about it ever again, and he didn't. He wrote it down in his journal. His son released the journal, right? He didn't, man, and that's how it was back then.
Yep. And so after that, the government classified the mission as top secret. Everything's been sealed. And all they publicly stated was that, yes, unfortunately, some men down there on the mission died. But, didn't say how many, which of course is always questionable.
Yeah.
They stated that they were buried down there instead of being brought home, which is, of course, questionable. Right. And the official reason, I don't know, you probably heard this, and I like this a lot. The official reason for terminating the mission was poor weather conditions.
Poor weather conditions in Antarctica.
Yep. Oh, man.
It's not looking good, boys. I think it's going to snow. We're out of here. We're out of here, right?
They pull all that information, do all those logistics, like you were saying, to get a whole 5,000 person fleet down there.
Yeah.
And it's snowing, so they turn around and get home.
Snowing, and it came back, right, for bad weather. Bad weather.
Yep.
So
makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense. So this story has Fiducary sprinkled all over it from top to bottom, and what a story! And so, what a story! And so again, like I said, real Admiral Byrd is a legitimate naval American hero. He is, like, you just don't. He checks every box, right? Before we get into this, Steve, how we do, Steve? How we do? We're not quite there yet, man. But how we do it, Steve? Well, let's do it right now because I got some more stuff I want to talk about. Do you believe it? Yeah. Do you believe it?
Do I believe it? No. Far. It's very far-fetched for me. But as we've said, this Admiral Byrd is so credible that he either lost his mind or he did really see something. And you know me, I will never rule out that second option. Whether I believe it or not, I will never say that he did. He saw something. He experienced something down there. Was it this Atlantean master in the royal city? I don't think so. But he certainly saw something that made him, go to the president of the United States and tell him this stuff.
Yeah, for
as
sure.
a joke,
This conversation. He did, I said on the channel, man. That's one of our. I mean, that's our benchmark right there, man. Something happened, right? Like, it's not totally fabricated, right? So you're gonna leave the door open, right? Leave the crack open, right?
Yeah.
So would you believe him if the Atlanteans show up in July?
I would turn around and say, sorry, Admiral Byrd, for doubting you, and there we go.
Give him. Well, if they show up, we'll give him an apology.
Yeah.
But it also too led into, like, I believe him. I believe it because I'm a sucker, but I believe him because, like, of his credibility. But I also believe him because of the things that happened immediately after this mission got back, right? And one of the things is that, well, no one was allowed to go there for, like, the longest time, right? Like, we weren't allowed to. When the U.S. we did not go back there. Several treaties were signed stating that, no one can ever lay claim to Antarctica, right? You just can't claim it, right?
Yeah, and that was something before you go off really quick. Remember you mentioned earlier, I said I wanted to make a note. So one thing I noted was, Admiral Byrd died in 1957, right? He died in 1957, and with his death, it kind of brought back the news. People were talking about it again, and it brought up again the news of what he claimed to have seen down there. And just ironically, 18 months later, the Antarctic Treaty was signed.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So,
because they were like, okay, people are talking about this again. We gotta.
Yeah, you can't go down there, right? So no one can go down there, right? So you're only supposed to allow to go down there to do, like research.
I wrote down real quick. Yeah, you first of all, like you said, no one can lay claim to anywhere down there, but you can only go down there for to do research into that. No military training, and you have to have special permission from one of the 12 selected governments who initially signed the treaty.
Right. Yeah.
And even then, there are only a few very select spots in Antarctica that you can go to. It's not like you have free reign. You can go here, here, or here.
Yeah. So you can't just like go down. Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy too, is because what could they possibly be studying down there? Right. Mm-hmm. Like that's my thing. Like what are y'all studying down there? Right. What's the thing? Has any breakthrough ever came through out of like Antarctica? Right. Like, oh my gosh, look what we learned in Antarctica. Oh, here's a, X, Y, and Z. Nothing ever comes out of it. Right. Well, also what's that?
The thing was down there. The thing was down there. So that was something that they didn't find.
Yeah. Right. So I actually believe that more. You know what I'm saying? That's more plausible, man. Like I actually believe that more. Right.
Oh man, that's funny.
I did a video, man. I did a video. It's pinned on my Instagram page only because I can't unpin it from my phone for some reason. I guess you got to have an iPhone, and I refuse to sell out to Satan. I have a Samsung, a Galaxy, right?
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.